Working from home sounds like freedom until your own house starts working against you. The wrong home office setup doesn't just reduce productivity. It drains energy, increases stress, hurts posture, damages focus, and in some cases even lowers your home's resale value. In 2026, remote and hybrid work are not temporary trends. They are embedded into how millions of people live. That means your home office is no longer a bonus space, it's infrastructure. And yet, many homeowners design it like an afterthought. A spare bedroom with a desk, a corner of the dining room, a chair that will do for now. Those compromises feel small at first, but over months and years, they compound. Today, we're breaking down 10 home office design mistakes you'll regret working from home, and why fixing them later is often more expensive than doing it right from the start. Let's start with the biggest mistake: choosing the wrong location. Many people place their home office wherever there's leftover space, a high-traffic hallway corner, a section of the living room, a converted closet. At first, it feels efficient, but noise and interruptions slowly erode focus. Family movement, television sounds, kitchen activity, even subtle background noise reduce cognitive performance. Over time, productivity drops and frustration rises. Retrofitting privacy, later adding walls, doors, or soundproofing is invasive and costly. Choosing a space with physical separation from high-traffic zones protects long-term functionality. Second, ignoring natural light orientation. Placing your desk directly facing a bright window may look great in photos, but glare becomes exhausting. Facing away from windows can create screen reflections. Inconsistent daylight shifts can cause eye strain. Poor natural light planning reduces comfort and increases artificial lighting dependence. Reconfiguring window placement isn't realistic after construction. Smart positioning side lighting with adjustable shading makes daily work sustainable. Third, underestimating acoustic control. Hard surfaces amplify echo, hollow core doors transmit sound easily. Shared walls without insulation allow conversations to travel. In 2026, video meetings are constant. Background noise is unprofessional and distracting. Retrofitting sound insulation requires opening walls or adding surface panels. Installing acoustic insulation, solid core doors, and soft materials during initial setup is far more effective than trying to quiet a room after frustration sets in. Fourth, choosing style over ergonomics. Minimalist desks that are too shallow for monitors. Dining chairs repurposed as office seating, aesthetic shelving that doesn't support real storage needs. Social media has popularized beautiful home offices that often sacrifice posture support. Over time, poor ergonomics lead to neck pain, back strain, and fatigue. Replacing furniture later costs more than selecting ergonomic pieces upfront. Health is infrastructure, not decoration. Fifth, insufficient electrical planning. In 2026, home offices require multiple monitors, docking stations, routers, printers, charging devices, and task lighting. Too few outlets lead to extension cords and clutter. Overloaded circuits risk breaker trips. Retrofitting outlets involves cutting drywall and rewiring. Planning dedicated circuits and abundant outlets from the beginning eliminates daily friction. Sixth, poor lighting layering. Relying on a single overhead light creates harsh shadows and uneven illumination. Without task lighting, eye strain increases. Without ambient warmth, the space feels sterile. Lighting temperature also matters. Cool, blue-toned light can feel clinical. Warm, balanced light improves comfort. Retrofitting layered lighting after cabinetry installation can be complicated. Planning ambient, task, and accent lighting from the start improves both productivity and mood. Seventh, ignoring background aesthetics for video calls. Blank walls may seem neutral, but can appear unprofessional on camera. Conversely, cluttered shelves or distracting artwork reduce perceived credibility. Built-in storage that organizes materials while presenting a clean visual background enhances professionalism. Reconfiguring built-ins later involves carpentry expense. Designing the backdrop intentionally from day one protects long-term utility. 8th, failing to plan for storage expansion. Work evolves, files accumulate, equipment changes. A small desk with no drawers becomes insufficient quickly. Adding bulky storage later can crowd the room. Built-in cabinetry or modular systems provide adaptability. Storage planning is often underestimated until clutter spreads across surfaces. 9th, poor temperature control. Offices located above garages or near exterior walls often suffer temperature swings. If HVAC airflow isn't balanced, the room may feel too hot in summer or too cold in winter. Productivity declines when comfort drops. Retrofitting ductwork is invasive and expensive. Ensuring balanced airflow and insulation during initial planning is far more effective. 10th, designing without future flexibility. Many homeowners assume remote work may not last. They design minimal setups accordingly, but 5 years later, the space still needs to function. Conversely, over-customizing for a narrow role can reduce resale flexibility. Built-in desks that can't convert, fixed cabinetry that limits alternate use, or excessive personalization narrows future adaptability. The best home offices can transform into guest rooms, studios, or libraries when needed. Now let's go deeper into the financial implications. Home offices in 2026 influence resale value more than they did a decade ago. Buyers expect functional workspaces. A poorly designed office signals future renovation cost. If a buyer sees exposed wiring, insufficient outlets, poor lighting, and inadequate storage, they mentally calculate upgrades. Even minor perceived work reduces offer strength. But beyond resale, daily performance matters. Lost productivity from distraction, discomfort, and inefficiency compounds financially over time. If poor acoustics reduce focus, tasks take longer. If poor ergonomics cause discomfort, work quality suffers. These aren't dramatic failures. They're slow drains. Consider airflow again. An office that overheats in summer forces you to adjust thermostat settings for the entire house. Energy bills rise, comfort elsewhere drops. Balancing systems later requires professional intervention. Now think about noise transfer. Without sound insulation, private calls feel risky. Background noise creates tension. You may invest later in acoustic panels or white noise systems. Installing insulation during initial build costs far less. Lighting missteps compound to eye strain reduces concentration. Poor lighting creates fatigue. Rewiring later requires electrical access. Planning layered lighting during initial installation prevents disruption. Let's address scale and proportion. Oversized desks in small rooms create claustrophobia. Undersized desks limit function. Measuring carefully prevents spatial imbalance. Furniture scale affects movement flow. Movement flow affects comfort. Another overlooked mistake is ignoring internet infrastructure. Wi-Fi dead zones reduce call stability. Running Ethernet cables later involves wall access. Planning network ports during construction ensures reliability. Air quality is another factor. Offices without adequate ventilation can feel stale. High CO2 levels reduce alertness. Incorporating proper ventilation or air purification systems supports health long-term. Now step back and see the pattern. Most home office mistakes happen because the space is treated as temporary. But in 2026, it's not temporary. It's permanent infrastructure. Temporary decisions create permanent regret. The most expensive corrections involve cutting into finished surfaces, opening drywall to add outlets, rerouting ductwork, replacing doors, installing insulation, repainting after electrical changes. All of these cost more than planning carefully upfront. Imagine two homes identical in size. One has a thoughtfully designed office with sound insulation, layered lighting, ergonomic furniture, proper airflow, organized storage, and strong internet connectivity. The other has a desk in a spare room with minimal planning. Which one commands stronger buyer interest? Which one supports daily productivity better? Value is tied to function. Function is tied to foresight. In 2026, working from home is not a luxury feature. It's a lifestyle foundation. Designing your home office like an afterthought undermines both daily performance and long-term equity. Before finalizing your office layout, ask, is this space quiet enough? Is lighting layered? Are outlets sufficient? Is airflow balanced? Is storage expandable? Is the background professional? Can the room adapt in 5 years? Because the regret won't appear on day one. It will appear after months of back pain, constant distraction, unstable video calls, and clutter accumulation. A well-designed home office supports focus, health, and property value. A poorly designed one drains all three, and the difference is decided long before you sit down at your desk. Because here's what most people underestimate about working from home. The small friction points you tolerate at first become amplified over time. What feels manageable for a week becomes exhausting after a year. And once a space is built poorly, correcting it is rarely simple. Let's go further into the hidden design traps that turn your home office into a long-term regret. One major mistake is ignoring visual boundaries. When your workspace blends into your personal living area with no separation, no door, no defined zone, no acoustic break, your brain never fully transitions between work mode and home mode. That psychological blur leads to longer work hours, reduced focus, and higher stress. Over time, burnout becomes more likely. Installing a door, partition, or architectural divider later requires framing, drywall, and finishing work. Designing boundaries from the start protects both mental clarity and property appeal. Another subtle regret comes from poor desk positioning relative to power and data sources. If your desk floats in the middle of the room without floor outlets or concealed wiring payouts, cords stretch visibly across floors. That not only looks unprofessional during video calls, it creates daily inconvenience. Adding floor outlets after flooring is installed can require cutting into finished surfaces and potentially compromising subfloor layers. Planning wire management during construction is dramatically easier than retrofitting later. Let's talk about ceiling height perception. Many spare bedrooms converted into offices feel compressed because of low ceilings combined with bulky furniture. Heavy shelving units mounted to low create a cave-like atmosphere. Over time, that enclosed feeling affects mood and productivity. Choosing proportionate furniture and maintaining visual breathing room matters. Reworking built-in shelving after installation involves patching walls and repainting. Another overlooked mistake is failing to incorporate adjustable lighting. Static lighting setups force you to accept one brightness level regardless of time of day. In winter months, insufficient brightness reduces alertness. In summer afternoons, overly harsh lighting causes fatigue. Installing dimmers and adjustable task lights from the beginning adds flexibility with minimal cost. Retrofitting dimmers later requires electrical work and potential wall repair. Let's examine flooring choice in more depth. Hard surfaces like tile or hardwood may look clean and modern, but they amplify sound and can feel physically cold during long work hours. Without acoustic underlayment or area rugs sized appropriately, echo increases and comfort decreases. Replacing flooring later is expensive. Choosing materials that balance acoustics and comfort from the start avoids that disruption. Another financial and functional mistake is ignoring storage concealment. Open shelving that displays every binder, cable, and device may seem accessible, but visual clutter reduces concentration. Studies consistently show that cluttered environments increase cognitive load. Installing closed cabinetry after the fact often requires custom carpentry and matching finishes that may no longer be available. Integrating concealed storage early keeps the space adaptable. Temperature zoning is another key issue. If your home office shares a thermostat zone with the rest of the house, achieving ideal comfort for work may compromise comfort elsewhere. Adding a mini-split or zoning system after construction is possible, but involves wall penetrations and electrical additions. Planning zoned HVAC during construction is more efficient. Let's address camera angles more strategically. In 2026, your home office is not just a workspace, it's a broadcast environment. Ceiling lights positioned directly overhead can cast harsh shadows on your face. Bright windows behind you create silhouette effects. These aren't superficial concerns, they affect professional perception. Repositioning lighting and desk orientation after cabinetry and wiring are set can be restrictive. Designing for camera presence upfront future-proofs your space. Another regret comes from underestimating cable evolution. Technology changes rapidly. If you don't install conduit pathways or accessible wire chases during construction, upgrading systems later requires cutting drywall. Running Ethernet lines, upgrading fiber connections, or installing smart panels becomes invasive. Planning structured wiring during the build stage protects adaptability. Let's talk about ceiling acoustics. Flat drywall ceilings reflect sound strongly. Adding acoustic treatments later may compromise aesthetics. Integrating subtle acoustic panels or softer materials during initial design prevents echo without visual disruption. Now consider resale psychology. Buyers in 2026 expect at least one functional home office or flexible workspace. If your office looks like a temporary desk shoved into a corner, it weakens perceived value. On the other hand, if the space is so hyper-specialized that it cannot convert easily to a bedroom or den, it also limits buyer flexibility. The sweet spot is adaptability. Built-ins that can function as closet storage. Desks that can be removed cleanly, neutral design that transitions easily. Here's another overlooked cost: mental bandwidth. Every day you work in a poorly designed environment, you spend extra mental energy adjusting posture, adjusting lighting, adjusting temperature, adjusting noise. Those micro adjustments drain focus over time. A well-designed office removes friction, a poorly designed one adds it. Imagine working 8 hours a day in a room that overheats slightly in the afternoon, or where echoes make calls slightly uncomfortable, or where you constantly reach for power strips because outlets are scarce. These aren't catastrophic problems, they're chronic irritations. And chronic irritation shapes how you feel about your home. Now zoom out and see the bigger financial picture. Remote work flexibility increases home value only when the space truly supports productivity. A poorly designed office doesn't just fail to add value, it signals to buyers that they will need to invest to make it functional. Even minor upgrades, adding insulation, electrical outlets, or lighting become negotiation leverage. The most expensive home office mistakes are the ones hidden behind finished surfaces, insufficient wiring, lack of insulation, poor duct routing, absence of blocking for future installations. These are invisible until they're needed. In 2026, homes are multifunctional ecosystems. The office is not secondary, it's as critical as the kitchen for many buyers. Treating it as an afterthought undermines both performance and equity. Before finalizing your home office design, challenge every assumption. Is the room quiet enough for confidential conversations? Is lighting adjustable throughout the day? Is power abundant and safely distributed? Is airflow balanced seasonally? Is the layout adaptable if work needs change? Is storage concealed and expandable? Does the space support camera presence professionally? Can it convert to another function without demolition? Because the regret won't be dramatic, it will be slow, it will show up in fatigue, in distraction, in awkward video calls, in back pain, in negotiation discounts when you list your home. A well-designed home office compounds benefits daily. A poorly designed one compounds frustration. And the difference is rarely about budget alone, it's about foresight. Design the space like you'll use it for a decade. Design it like your income depends on it, because in many cases, it does. And once walls are closed and wiring is buried, fixing what you ignored becomes far more expensive than getting it right from the beginning.